Hey, scrappers and recyclers, we got a new pallet load of mixed boards. Well, it's almost a pallet load. So these boards are from a new client. He owns a computer repair store here in the Asheville area. So he has the potential to be a really good source of material. He's trying to understand his balance between scrapping and repairing PCs. He knows his real money is in repairing and maintaining people's computers and such, but he likes to scrap. What he's got to try to decide is what is worth his time and money. So right now, this initial decision was to let me pay him for these boards. And we have a pretty good mix here. Look at this. We've got green metal socket. We've RAM. This is a weird one. What is... There's no gold fingers. I mean, that is as low grade as it comes, huh? Interesting board. We got an AMD colored with the RAM stick still. We've got some... Ooh, that's a dirty. I wonder if I threw that in there by accident. Not sure where that... Oh, no, there's some more dirties in there. So he must have picked up some dirties from some local customers after the flooding from Helene. We've got some packages of RAM down there. We've got... get you out of the way. Here's a nice slot CPU. So this should be fun to go through and see what we have in here. Come on, let's dive in. I know I'm going to need more bins than this, but this will get us started, and we'll grab bins as we need them. All right, so slot processor board with the slot processor. I got to work on that. My ramp is off kilter, so it keeps banging around. Green metal, small metal socket. And remember, before you sell these, you have to remove that battery. Let's get something for the RAM. RAM. All right, here we have more RAM. And that's... So that is a green AMD. That's a special category on Board Sort. We can talk more about how to identify these, but Board Sort has a really good video themselves on how to identify these. Slot processor, a slot card. Goldfinger slot card, and of course the way to maximize your value for Board Sort is to remove any heat sinks, motors, or brackets. Small green metal socket. And another one. Now I'm not going to remove the CPUs going forward unless it's something that might be interesting, because when I buy these like this, I weigh the CPU on the board. I pull them off later on, but my clients all know that before they bring these to me. So that's a they can pull those separately and sell them separately, or they can leave them on. So I pulled that one to make sure that it was an AMD, and it is. I don't mind pulling the RAM, that's easy enough. I probably could pull that, but I want to make sure I pay him properly. A US quarter will not fit inside of that one, so that is not a large socket motherboard. Let's see, what's the code on here? MPGA478B, so that's just going to be a small socket plastic. That's interesting. It's a Goldfinger card. That's in the actual gold slot that it came from, so that's cool. metal socket. Go ahead and get this RAM off of here. AMD, it even has the AMD on it, so I know that's going to be an AMD. But that AMD chip or CPU will get separated after I weigh them up for payment. Nice gold finger card. More gold finger cards here. Gather them up while I'm here. And then there's that one that is a nothing card. Must be a test point card or something, I'm guessing. Yeah, not sure. There's another slot processor card board. Old style Pentium. By the way, if any of you are collectors and you're looking for, a slot board for your collection, let me know. I am happy to resell boards. That probably came out of a laptop. So I'm going to set that aside because that looks like it's a laptop board. Normally I would charge people a sorting fee. 10% is about the going rate for sorting fees. Brand new client, I'm trying to work out what kind of flow I'm going to have from him. If I can expect a good load like this from him on a regular basis, then I may forego the sorting fee as a way to keep that goodwill and, keep him bringing me stuff. And I'm going to try to educate him on sorting, because if he sorts the stuff ahead of time, even if I don't charge him a sorting fee, he can probably make more money even with a little more cursory sort. Go ahead and get the RAM off of here. So this has all of the looks of a computer that was down inside the mud. We've seen plenty of those, haven't we? We're gonna see those for a while now here. We used to get that in Florida too, where they would come in, they would have been underwater, then they would have been in a backyard for a while, and they would just stink like crazy. But that's because in Florida, when they were underwater, they were under brackish water, and so stuff would try to grow in them. That's the laptop board. I have a feeling that these are all laptop boards. Because he's a computer repair shop, he would logically have laptops that some people might want to try to repair or upgrade. Yeah, these are all laptop boards, so I'll set these aside. That is not a laptop board, that's just a green metal socket. There's another green metal socket in the anti-static bag. They're a repair shop, so their MO is to put things in anti-static bags. Ooh, look at that. Nice gold finger backplane board, but I'll probably sell that as a gold finger card because it does have some nice components on it. I don't know. We'll take a look at that. Small socket, or are you an AMD? FM, yeah, so I think that gets classified as an AMD board. I gotta check that one to be sure. I never had to separate the AMDs before because when I was in Florida, I sold those to my local yard as a high grade, a high grade board. But now I'm going to be selling to board sort, and so I need to separate by all of their various categories. I'm thinking that's going to be a colored small socket, but no, wait a minute. This may be a peripheral. I mean, look at that. It came out of, looks like it came out of some sort of switch. So it's going to be some sort of peripheral board. So I'm going to set that aside. Oh, here's a nice big server board. So if you buy boards from people, watch out for this part, because this is still on the metal plate. So before I weigh it, I'm going to remove it from the metal plate. But that's a dual socket server motherboard. There's a pretty classic looking small metal socket, colored as opposed to green. And I know some of you are saying, well, green is a color. Well, I like, if you really want to be accurate, you would say non-green. I got to work on staging my bins better. This is the first time that I've unloaded a pallet in the shark cage. Remember the last time we did it, it was out of the back of the truck at the storage unit. That bent arm tells me this is an I series. Let's see what we're dealing with. I321, oh, I321, that might not have any value at all. If it does, it's $1. When I'm referring to that, what I mean is the buyback, the test and buy program. It has scrap value, but the newer generation I-series CPUs can be sold to board sort under the test and buy program, and if they test functionally, then you'll get more money for them. In some cases, really good money. This might be an integrated, or this might be an integrated board. I'm going to set that aside and check it later on. Goldfinger card. Might have come out of a large screen display or TV, because it kind of looks like a finger strip board. Might have come out of a server too. Hard to say. I don't know. I have not seen one like this before. But it's a Goldfinger card. Oh, there we go. There's a large socket. A US quarter will definitely fit down inside of that socket. So large socket motherboard. Good value there. Dual socket server motherboard, and this one is not on the metal plate. So I'll remove the heat sinks here, battery, and we're good to go. And there's some nice weight there. There's a nice G-force. Anybody want it? I'm guessing it doesn't work, because otherwise why would the computer repair guy have it in his junk bin? I'm just guessing. And it appears to have been damaged. It's caved in here, so I'm thinking it might have been damaged. That's probably an integrated board. There's no socket. There are some chips, so I'm thinking that's what board sort refers to as an integrated motherboard. So that's actually a peripheral high-grade board. These are chips, so that'll go in with your peripherals. And that's another server board, dual socket. I'm gonna have to put a quarter in that one, but I'm thinking that's gonna be a large socket. That one might be as well. I'll need to check those. Ah, it's a great big transformer. Man, that's going to be heavy to get out of there. got some junk down here. That's a low-grade board. You know, there are some components on low-grade boards that you can pick, like copper or aluminum. Sometimes even the ICs are reasonable to pull. And it's not like you're going to make a low-grade board any lower than what it is. Backplane board. Boy, that's an interesting looking board. Goldfinger card. It's got components on that side. It had a socket for something. This slotted in, so that was the processor, and it slotted into the PC. Was this an Apple? Is that what that was? Was that an Apple processor? I tell you what, I'm going to keep digging through here. I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me finish up digging through here. So why don't I dig through, and I'll set aside anything that's kind of really unusual and cool, and we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. I promised I'd let you know if I found anything a little bit different. It's not so much unusual as much as you just don't see them as much anymore. But these are dual small socket plastic motherboards. They're different from the metal small socket dual motherboards. You know, so it's server, it's dual, but it's a plastic socket, not the metal socket. Let's see here. Cleaning I have to get it off of the metal tray. Oops. Now the brackets for the heat sinks are aluminum, so set those aside to get the aluminum. There we go. Now I can weigh that. And of course, before I sell it to Board Sort, I'll take off the heatsink and the battery. But for the purposes of paying this guy, I'm going to weigh it like this, and I'll weigh the shell separately. I think this is another one. Let's confirm that. It looks like it anyway, through the plastic. Yeah, that's the same board. Again, this is really easy to get this off of the metal. You lift the bracket levers because the prongs are blocking the screws, so you lift the bracket lever so you can get at the screws. And let's see, what is this? Oh, that's interesting. It's a gold finger card of some sort. Almost looks like it's a type of RAM. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. A couple of other oddball things. For some reason, there was a loose hard drive board in there. That's a SATA hard drive board, so it's not a big deal, but that's just kind of weird that it was there by itself. We have this wireless, and we'll just bust it out of the frame, and then a small hard drive. In this particular unload, we ended up with 18 categories of items here. We had some RAM, some loose CPUs, we had some low-grade boards, Goldfinger cards, laptop boards, wire, motors, which only go as shred around here, aluminum heat sinks. Actually, heat sinks, I have to separate those out, so 19 categories because some are copper aluminum. Large socket, colored metal, small socket, peripheral, high grade. Small socket plastic, the dual socket server motherboards, those guys. Slot card, the slot motherboards. Small metal socket green, backplane boards, and AMDs. We also had the power supplies, and these will go as shred. So 19 categories in all, and I got to figure out how I want to deal with this. But this is a really good example of why you never, never, never buy a pallet load, a Gaylord box full of boards on, as a blind trust, unless you have a mixed board category, which is priced appropriately for the risk that you take. This is really, really heavy. And I know this guy. I know he wasn't trying to get away with anything. He put it in here and he expected me to figure out how to pay him for it, which is fine. But if I had weighed the entire pallet and just charged him a mixed board price, I could have really risked being taken to the cleaners on that. And there are unscrupulous people. He did this by accident or because he knew I was going to unload everything, he put it in there. But there are unscrupulous people that would say, oh, here's a pallet, just give me X number of dollars a pound for it. And if you're new to this game, you might make that mistake. So I really, really encourage you, don't ever buy a full Gaylord box of boards believing that they are what they say they are. Even good, honest people make mistakes. And I really need to work on how I'm going to lay things out in the future, because I fully expect that between this client, another PC repair client that I have, and the scrapyard I'm doing business with, that I'm going to be getting more pallet loads of mixed boards and things. And so I've got to work on how I lay that out. This did not work to my satisfaction at all. If you're scrapping as a hobby, it's unlikely that you will get a complete pallet full of mixed boards and stuff. But if you do, it's good to have some idea of, what you need to do to process it. At some point, you have to strike a balance between how much time you're going to spend to take off the junk when you weigh it, or weigh it with stuff on it. In this case, I'm weighing the boards as I get them. And I make that very clear in my price list that things like CPUs and RAM and such are weighed on the boards unless you separate them ahead of time. So it's been an interesting day getting this all sorted out. I've got everything laid out now. I just need to write this guy up a sales slip and get a check ready for him. Then I still have some more work to do, because I still have to take the batteries off and get them prepared for shipment to board sort. If you enjoyed this and you want to learn more about scrapping, there's links over here to take you to more scrapping videos. I'll see you on the next one.